What up, TikTok? Hey, hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hey, don't let anything that's negative in your life dictate the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Hey, we all go through some hard times. We all go through some emotional stressors, maybe at work, maybe at home, whatever it may be. Don't let that dictate who you are and how you react to the rest of the things that life throws at you. Does that make sense? Like if you're feeling pissed off and angry all morning or all day, you're going to take that energy and you're going to present it to everybody else that surrounds you, your loved ones, your soldiers, whoever it may be. You're going to use that negative energy and it's just going to make everything worse. Try to be positive. Pick something positive in life that's going really well. Use that positive energy and let that dictate the rest of your day. We can harp on the negatives. We can harp on the bad things that are going on in life. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us move forward. Stay strong, keep pushing, drive on. Happy Friday.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Hitting you up this morning with a special promo on how to dress when you are doing PT in civilians, but you want everybody to know you're an Army. This comes from the Buddy Beckwith fashion design of how to work out. So first, you can notice the RI panties. Not Ranger panties, but Ranger instructor panties. The green socks, the knee brace for the old guys. Don't forget the M frames. Now the shirt, don't wear the Trash Talk shirt while you're running. This is just for the promo. You want to put on like an 80-second shirt or like your favorite airborne shirt so everybody knows that you're a veteran. That's the most important thing. And you start with this stretch. Buddy Beckwith taught me this one. Ready to go.
So, I'm walking out of the gas station and my co-worker, who's an old MP, but we still claim him, and has engaged the man in conversation. Not much for conversation with strangers, but he's got the tab. So, as I walk by, I say airborne, and the man responds with, and I quote, "Hoorah." So, after I instructed my co-worker to slash every single tire before he put the car in gear, I looked for the biggest rock. As I crow hop to throw it through his back window so he can stop posing as one of us, I actually wake up and realize that the man's ignorance had incapacitated me for a moment, and I was daydreaming. I mean, because in that moment you got two options. I chose the third option and said, "Incorrect. That's an incorrect response." And I kept walking. The man said nothing and he pulled away. So you tell me, what is it, a stolen valor thing? No Marine's gonna have an airborne tab, and no paratrooper's gonna say hidden hoorah. So you tell me, stolen valor?
Hey, y'all, I'm going to work. I left you a note on the refrigerator. I love y'all. I'm gonna go.
Hey, go get dressed. Get ready for school.
You're doing great. Tooling around, tooling along. Shit! Bad guys! Stop!
Let me break it down Barney style.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Today's special guests are 3 former MPs. Wait, why the fuck are they on here?
Today's show is brought to you by the Farkas Group at the Veterans Mortgage Source. Are you looking for a team you can trust for your mortgage needs? The Farkas Group is our trusted partner on the podcast. I served with Zach, and he will definitely give you the best rate possible. Their goal is to educate veterans across the country on their earned VA home loan benefit. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, reach out to these guys for competitive rates or any information you may need on obtaining a VA mortgage for your property. They are licensed in multiple states. If they are not licensed in the state that you live in, they will still give you the advice that you need and the rates you should be looking for.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome to episode 64 of the Trash Talk Hour. Shout out to our sponsor, Zach Farkas with the Veterans Mortgage Source. You can check him out at Zach Farkas at vmsloans.com. Happy Place Hemp. You can find them at shop.elevatedhempsolutions.com. Cal Early with Barrage Coffee. Check them out at barragecoffee.com. And last but not least, 10th Mountain Whiskey. Check them out at 10thwhiskey.com.
I got their vodka today.
Get yourself a this. What do you say, Nick?
I'm drinking their vodka today.
Yeah.
Good. Potato vodka.
Check out 10th Mountain Whiskey. You can type in VTT, get yourself a discount. Special guests today are Brett, Ricardo, and Robert from Veterans Action Counsel. And today I'm joined by Buddy, Joe, and Nick. Over to you, Joe. Cheers.
Love that name, Veterans Action Counsel.
Do you?
Like it's not the source. It was the source earlier, but you know.
All right.
I mean, does it resonate with you?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does. It touches me in all the right places.
Yeah, point to where it touched you.
Show us on the bear.
Let's talk about it, Joe. That's what the show is about, man. Let's go.
Here we go. So, okay,
turn the porn off. You can see the reflection in your sunglasses.
God.
Every soapbox has been like a 2-topic soapbox for the last, the ones that I make it to, according to Nick. So I'm going to go first with what got me triggered. And it wasn't really so much anything this week. It was today. All right.
That's not what I heard about yesterday.
This right here is a set of Beats headphones that can double as a Bluetooth. Why am I explaining this to you, you ask?
No one knows.
Because I'm walking through the grocery store, talking to my mother, who's up north, because I'm checking their house. And this guy's staring at me like I just grabbed his old lady's butt and stole his wallet. And I'm like, and it goes on for an extended period of time. And so when I get close to him, I said, am I bothering you? And he muttered something and shook his head about talking in public. I said, hey, why don't you just mind your fucking business? Now, was that triggered? Probably a little bit. But, dude, when someone's walking around and they got something in their ear and they're talking, it's because they spend most of their day on the phone doing business. They're not talking to you. Okay, they're not trying to get your attention, nor are they trying to get your fucking opinion. Veterans are probably the worst group of people to do that with. Okay, when I go shopping, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to get in, get out, and get my shit. Well, not in that order. But anyway, so this is a Bluetooth. People walking around with it in their ear are not talking to you. Mind your fucking business. All right, next topic. I'm about a month in to my move back to Michigan. And I can tell you one thing, and this is serious. We still have the epidemic going on. We're still losing
a pandemic or an epidemic.
Well, according to what side you listen to, both. Yeah. But anyways,
that's something I would have said too, Joe. It's okay. But I speak 3 languages. I speak 3 languages.
Yeah, we're good.
I didn't say he was wrong.
I wasn't talking about fucking Corona.
I know.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah, Dave, mute your shit.
No, he wants to play it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is if you have the chance to go back and be around your family and be around the people that were there for you, there through all this shit with you, remember one thing. While you grew in that 17 years, that was the break for me. So did they. And you come back and you've got these expectations of everything being exactly like it was. Dude, my family in Michigan is ginormous. That I did make that up, Nick. I know it's not a word. But people have moved on. Everybody's got kids. People have passed away. And man, I tell you, that was one of the hardest parts about the move back was realizing, yeah, man, you're home and it's good, but family isn't the same family that you left, just like you're not the same dude when you left. So getting adjusted to all that, man, and realizing that I need to use the time I got with them because I lost so much of it, has kind of transformed and flipped itself the other way to where it's like I'm discovering a whole new family because all my cousins got kids. I got a baby boy, and 2 other kids. And so it's just, it's crazy to see how much different it is when you've got that network of people around you that care about you. Because I did it for 17 years without it. And I know there's a lot of veterans that suffered because of that, because they didn't have a support network around them. So if you have the chance to go home and realize that things might be different, but that's still your family. I could have lived in North Carolina for 40 years. Well, they wouldn't have been my people, and I'm sure, Nick can chameleon anywhere he goes, but he's home when he's fucking watching a Packers game in Wisconsin. Dave, I know you're so well traveled. I couldn't name which one you think of when you think of home. I'm sure it's the one you got now, but man, don't waste time. If you have the time to go back, if you have the time to see the people, use it, because a lot's changed. And man, I'm just very, very grateful and happy to be back. So there's my Tony Robbins moment. I'm gonna pass it, buddy. If you're good to go, I'm gonna throw it to you, and you can please explain to me what's broken on you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, in the way we get past that, what you were just talking about, not being around your family in Alabama, is we just you're not around your cousins. Yeah. You marry them. You marry them. You take them with you. You know what I mean? I see my cousins all the time. You know what I mean?
Will do anything to survive.
Yeah. Hey,
buddy, what are you wearing? What are you wearing, buddy?
What's wrong with your arm? Show us now.
You talking about this little fella?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see.
I had that sweet rotator cuff surgery.
Tracking.
Turns out about 11 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe, I did a jump and put a hole in my rotator cuff, and then I had to get it fixed before I get out. So that's a real thing.
Did they have to move your bicep tendon?
They didn't, actually.
They did?
Good. They just no. They
okay,
did not.
Good, because you end up with something like this. See that hole?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I told them not to do it. They did it, and that's my bicep now.
Yeah, they talked about doing it, but you look cut all the time. You just always flexing. Looks good. You look good.
It's total bullshit. It's a lie.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I
completely zoned out because I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Okay. Well, anyway, this
they zoned out.
Nick, I think you're gonna like this one, Nick. Are you good? You ready?
I don't know. Are we doing our show right now?
Yeah, I think we're live.
I think we're live. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho, so Nick's real. You seem real triggered. Look, I'm trying to get my tech all squared away.
Yeah. It looks like
it. You asked me to come inside. I came inside. You asked me to get shit. I got a keyboard. Look at this. I got a mouse. I got a laptop. I'm using the laptop right now to prop my phone against so I can do the show. The laptop is literally a.
Technically, the laptop's being used, so we're making strides.
Yeah, any resource, buddy.
A $2,000 freaking just prop that I could have gotten a 2x4 to do. I got a microphone that is really just a red light. It's just this little red light, but it doesn't do anything. I got all the props. I do. I spent all the money on all the props. Anywho, so I've been thinking, and there are a lot of metaphors and analogies that go around. And
you don't know what a metaphor is. What's a metaphor?
It's to explain stuff. That's what it's for.
Yeah, okay.
It's the meta. Yeah. The meta is for explaining stuff.
Okay.
So, anywho, so the analogy of the sheepdog and the sheep, and then there's all the other
metaphor.
Ones. And I came with my own. I feel like I've come up with my own thing, Nick, and I think that you're gonna like this one. I feel like the world has way too many Ranger students, right? And not enough RIs. There aren't enough fucking dudes that are going to walk up to somebody who's all fucked up and be like, hey, Ranger, what the fuck are you doing? This doesn't make any sense. You're lost. There's a lot of people that are lost right now. Lost in everywhere. And instead of fucking, they're like, hey, explain to me what the fuck you're doing. Where are you? Where are you? Show me where you're at. And instead of going, hey, stop fucking showing me with your fat fucking finger and use a fucking goddamn pine needle. Use a goddamn pine needle.
Use a pine needle.
Aren't we? There aren't enough people, there aren't enough RIs out there that will just stand up and say, hey, we need to take accountability for what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think we need a lot more RIs out there, which means to me,
you need more guys like me.
Nick, you need to start just wearing your little RI hat. Your fucking black shirt and your little flipped up Ranger scrolled fucking hat, walk around and in real life just start knocking people out and being like, hey, Hey, Ranger, what are you doing, Ranger? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm just saying. That's probably what we need.
10th Mountain
Now,
Whiskey. Show the bottle, buddy. Show the bottle.
Well,
10th Mountain Whiskey.
Right here. Therefore, hey, I also want to say that 10th Mountain Whiskey, like, great product, not very handicap accessible. Like, I can't get
Show us who's responsible for your lingo, cadence, timing. Who is it?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go, buddy.
Special Forces my ass if you don't get that cap off.
That's Buddy's favorite drink. It's the cordial.
It's going down, boys. He's not playing. Okay, it's about.
You got your fancy glass, buddy? You got your fancy glass?
What the? Look at this! Look at this dude.
Hey, all right, let's keep going here.
Stop the fucking patrol! Stop!
Well, I'm fucking waiting on Nick.
Yeah, stop the fucking patrol. Just show me where the fuck you are right now. Don't point at it.
Yeah, maybe in real life you walk up to people and you're like, "Hey, dickhead, you're fucking not merging. You're not merging correctly. Stop your fucking car. Show me where the fuck you're at. Where are you on the interstate? This is how you merge.
Yeah.
Move the fuck out, Ranger. What the hell? That's what we need.
I mean,
More of you, Nick.
You just got to follow some of the rules. You know, it's like you've been down in Navarre. When you go to the beach in Navarre, there is a yield sign when you're turning right onto the beach, and there's a green arrow when you're turning left. People are letting the yield people in and out. It's like, no, when this light turns fucking red, all of you can go. Like that's how the engineers designed it.
And you just get out and you RI them. That's right. What we need.
So,
we need more RIs in the world.
Correcting traffic. RI down in Florida was probably the funnest job I've ever had. It's great. It sucks. I mean, you're up for 30 hours, but
most fun.
Hey, and this isn't really on the honesty cap thing, but how are we all feeling about the whole our squared away General Milley doing the whole don't listen to the president thing? That's not my honesty. I'm curious as to what the rest of our best.
I don't know if he was saying not to listen to what he's saying.
It's still an investigation, right? So like,
yeah, I mean it's true. I'm just curious as to how we're feeling about the possibility that was a thing. That blows
we would think that absolutely didn't happen. So we're good to go.
Well, I think he's saying don't listen to the president, not because he wants you not violate orders. It's because you don't understand what he's saying. So it's like if the president says something, he probably read it wrong. So don't listen to him. I'll tell you what he's supposed to say. Like,
yeah, he was talking about Trump though. He wasn't talking about this guy. He was talking about.
Oh, you're talking about back then. Yeah. I'm not even paying attention to that shit. I don't care. But all right, hey, there you have it. You had Joe. He's fallen asleep already, and then Buddy came up with his own metaphor, and where
I think it is a metaphor.
The world needs more people like RIs. All right, so I want you to correct people as if you were an RI, okay, and then people can understand that, right? Because they can live with it. Well, not most people, because most people didn't go to Ranger School because they didn't want to be men. Speaking of that, we have 3 former military police / security forces / whatever, right? So
did you say security forces like the real SF is here?
Like the real SF.
Watch out,
they actually have SF on their sleeve, so pretty much better than your SF. We got Brett, we got Ricardo, and Robert, and so the song says, you guys didn't hear it, but when you play it, we have a lot of very important guests on the show, and at first when I'm trying to think of a song for MPs, then it struck. I was like, 3 former MPs. Why are they even on the fucking show? Right? Like what good are they? Anyways, we are thrilled to have you on. All right. And you guys are representing the Veterans Action Council. And I've listened to a few of your shows, and like we try to tell everybody who's watching on Gruntworks and Veteran Trash Talk, we don't care what you do. If you're a veteran and you're doing something great, we'll promote you. All right, come on, and we're gonna see if we can get you one more listener, maybe 2, 3, 5,000. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna do the best that we can to build everybody else up around us. And you guys are running some really cool stuff and doing some really great things with cannabis and with trying to lobby for that. And like I said, we have the CBD company because some people can't get cannabis. And so again, 25% off if you put in BTT 25 off at Happy Place M. Get off opioids. But anyways,
You guys have the show. It's your mic. Welcome to the Trash Talk Hour.
Ricardo, you always talk first. That's your cue, homie.
I'll go. That's what's up. Thank you for having us, man. Yeah, it's work that we've been doing for various time. Each of us came in for our own reasons at our own time. I got into the cannabis issue specifically in 2013. I was at the University of Arizona. My military career ended in 2009, and I just I was like, what do I do now? So I found myself on campus. I got heavily involved with the vets program on campus, did a whole bunch of community service projects, whole bunch of stuff. And I eventually met this doctor who was going to be researching, investigating the safety and efficacy of cannabis when used to treat treatment-resistant post-traumatic stress. So I was using cannabis for the 3 years up until that point that I met her. I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. You trip and you fall over a bale of cannabis over here anyway. I grew up smoking it. I had to get a waiver to get into the military, but I got in because I used it once and one time only, and I didn't like it. So when she was coming to the point where she was about to launch the research, I was like, oh man, that's cool. Let me figure out how I can get involved. And just fate kind of did what it does. And I ended up in this fellowship program that she was a part of. And so we hooked up, we started talking about curbing this opioid use and other like SSRIs and harmful stuff that people were just getting fed, and as well as the suicide epidemic. And she asked me if I would help get awareness around the study. I agreed. And within 6 months, she was fired from the University of Arizona. And up until that point, I had done some amazing work. I expanded a permanent memorial on campus to honor all those who had put themselves in harm's way. And we were patted on the back a lot, told how much our service meant to politicians, to academics, to business people, to nonprofit leaders, to people in the community. And then as soon as cannabis came up, it turned out that that was one thing that was off the table. And I didn't appreciate that. And so I dropped out of school. I had one class left. I had math to finish, but due to like my brain gets kind of all messed up when I'm timed and I'm looking at all those numbers and all that other stuff. And I was looking to get a tutor, but decided to go and jump headfirst into this. And so that's what I've been doing since 2013, is riding with Dr. Sisley, trying to work with other veterans from across the country. Now we're tied into veterans from across the world. Australia, United Kingdom, Ukraine helped us out a lot at the United Nations level. And what we're doing now is we're targeted, we're mobilized, right? And we have our specific target, and that's the VA. And we're gonna get access to cannabis through the VA. We're gonna get the investigational new drug program that they started in the 70s, when the very first patient, Robert Randall, was provided cannabis by the government that was grown at the University of Mississippi. And he was given 300 grams of cannabis per month in pre-rolled doobies every month until he died. And so we're gonna get that, but better weed, stuff that they're using in the dispensary. We're gonna get more options than just flower. We're gonna go after vaping, tinctures, edibles, topicals, et cetera, et cetera. And when we work that into the programming that's already available, mindfulness-based stress reduction techniques, group therapy, individual therapy, a lot of other things that are done, yoga, hiking, all the stuff that Team RWB does, all the amazing work that like Team Rubicon does, all that's therapeutic as well. And so we're looking forward to helping get veterans engaged when they get out with their therapy.
Nice.
And not be clouded over with the pharmaceutical haze that we've been under for far too long.
Well said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it the way you are. Because when you follow our page
and our page is growing pretty fast. It was huge before Facebook shut us down, but when you look at people talking about suicide, or when they're talking about, you know, problems with the VA, it's always one thing, right? They're always saying it's this. If we just fix this, then we're going to be good. No, we're not. It's a complete system failure. And there are things in the VA that are running full steam awesome, and there's things that are not. And we all know without a doubt that with the AMA and the FDA and what they put in our bodies to deal with stress, is bad for you. All right. It's wrong. You got to be paid by those companies to even come on camera and say it's good for you. Like, now, if that pill is helping you go to work because you can't work without it, don't just stop. Like, you can talk to your doctor, all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, get your life in order. But thanks for talking about the whole system. Joe, you got to follow up?
Yeah, honestly, it was just about tincture. Can you explain what supposed to do and the effects of it? Because I've got some and I wasn't sure. I haven't even tried it yet. Ricardo.
You cut out for a split second.
Okay, the tincture. I was asking about what that's supposed to do. Like, what is the functioning, like, what's it supposed to help with?
Well, it depends on what it is that you're looking to use it for. And it's not like it varies from individual to individual. It may not work for everybody, but it's just another modality that is available to address some of the symptoms or injuries or pain or whatever that you're going through or experiencing.
I've got a simple breakdown.
What we're looking. Go ahead,
so,
Brett.
like,
pass it on to Brett.
It's going to come down to cannabis. You can intake it in a whole bunch of different ways, right? You can smoke it, you can eat it, you can put it under your tongue, you can put it in a patch. When we look at efficacy of that, right, like how it works, you can break it down pretty simply. How fast is it going to work and how long is it going to work, right? So, like, a vape pen, like you see me hit all the time, that's going to act really fucking quick, like pretty much immediately within a minute or so. It's only going to last anywhere from a half an hour to 2 hours, depending on how much you've used it, right? And edible is kind of the opposite and mimics Western medicine a little bit closer, right? So it's going to take an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for some people to kick in, but that shit's going to last all fucking day. A tincture is supposed to be absorbed under your tongue and into your bloodstream that way. So it's supposed to be the middle ground. I'll be really frank with you. Most people use them fucking wrong and they put them on top of their tongue instead of under their tongue. So they end up just eating it. So it's basically like eating a really fucking weak edible. So when you ingest it, like an edible, it's going to get decarboxylated inside your body and go through your liver and your kidneys before it hits your bloodstream.
How do you spell that?
Can you spell? You can't use words. You can't use words on
too fancy of a word.
You can't use words on the
that's what
Veterans
Graham
Action
is
Counsel.
DECARBOLA.
Yeah, LMNOP.
Yeah, that shit.
No,
Yeah, that's what Graham
I heard a
right?
ding, but we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
So yeah, tinctures are supposed to be somewhere in the middle, right? Like fairly fast acting, maybe like 15, 20 minutes, last for 3, 4, 5 hours. That's kind of the goal. Patches and shit, that's a little bit more ethereal. So maybe like localized pain, or if you have some other shit like a balm or a salve or something for like a skin condition or some shit like that. But that's kind of how you break it down. The effects are gonna matter a whole lot more based on the cannabinoids in it. So is it CBD, which is kind of anti-inflammatory, mild anti-anxiety? THC, that's the one that gets you high. We all know what that one does, right? You've got other ones that are kind of growing in popularity. So like CBG is supposed to be a what is it called? A hormonal balancer or some shit. Like it's supposed to work with like
it's for women.
With
the tincture, I just dosed it out like a paratrooper would and did a shot of it, and it didn't go so well.
Did you get too high?
No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that shit. I had a ball. I've never taken it. I was just curious.
Hey, you should do it right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, really
it's
interesting.
not in the room.
So like to make a vape pen like this, you use alcohol.
Dude, those things hit me like a freight train if they're a good one compared to flour. But
kind of like when I wrestled you.
What's that?
Huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like a freight train. So
So
you guys, little context there. I GFT'd with Joe once and separated his shoulder. undefeated. Not a big deal. So like a freight train.
Well, no. Let's go ahead and correct that. It's a very big deal to Nick. Every day of my life for 20 years, he's told me about it. So yes, it is a big deal. So give him his due.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. He needed CBD after that, the anti-inflammatory type.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
right.
Keep going. Sorry.
No. Let's correct that. This was the starting phase of the fucking problem. They ain't giving out no CBDs back in 2006. They gave opioids, and they gave a lot of them for a long freaking time.
Hey,
Matter
so
of fact, the only thing that stopped it was they were like, you can't go, you can't be on the front line and take this shit. So I stopped taking them when we went, put an ulcer in my stomach from taking too much naproxen, and then came back and got right back on the opioids for good bit of a while.
All right. Hey, so where do people follow this entire venture? I mean, you guys obviously have a lot on your plate. You're going after the VA next, in a positive manner, obviously trying to enlighten people on the effects of CBD and marijuana and all that good stuff. But
well, it's not just CBD, and you can go to our website, the Veterans Action Counsel.com.
Okay.
We're on all kinds of social media and stuff. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, et cetera. We even have a fucking TikTok account, but I don't think we use it yet.
We have one as well. Hey, it is what it is, right?
Ricardo,
we got a bunch of 40-year-olds singing songs on TikTok.
I don't know if
Nick's got a video on there that went like viral.
There's a dog behind you, Ricardo. Is he supposed to be there?
Yeah, that's my crew.
That's good. He looked like he was getting ready to pounce, man. I didn't know if he.
So do you guys have a podcast as well?
Because they're hungry.
You guys do a podcast as well, right? Or no?
Well, so we have a roundtable every other week.
Okay.
We just got done speaking with Diane Goldstein, who's the executive director of Law Enforcement Action Partnership, and with Peter Forselli, who is a senior law enforcement executive with the ATF and whatnot. And we're just remembering 9/11. And then the one before that was with Professor Noam Chomsky. And we were talking about Afghanistan and the war on drugs and our push, what he feels about our push as veterans targeting the VA system as like a linchpin for the rest of the community. Right. Because we're a federal system. We target, we break through the VA. We're federal patients already. And now all the people who are covered in insurance and stuff are going to start approaching their the people on the citizen side saying, hey, what up? We want to be covered. This is expensive because it is $20 a gram, $25 a gram. It's not cheap. And it goes up more than that if you're doing the tinctures and a lot of the other condensed form of material, plant material, such as resin and what have you. But we're active on a number of fronts. And like I said, I came into this with my own experience. Brett, he could talk about his experience with Florida, working with the veterans down there and the dispensaries down there. Robert is in Ohio. He was the patient representative for the state of Ohio, helping them figure out what they're doing with their medical program, et cetera. And we consult with and advise various congressional leaders on this issue. We put forward a paper to the United Nations that I wrote called the Green Paper. And then we turned around and we submitted that to the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. And then recently, when the call went out, we submitted it to Cory Booker, Wyden, and Schumer, the sponsoring offices of the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act for this. And now we're looking forward to lobbying in May, come up in 22, so that we can get in person and let them know we're not going away. When we first started this, like I said, the false patriots and the flag wavers and the pat you on your head, thank you for your service people, right? They ran away from this issue because it was politically nuclear. And we saw it. We didn't forget it. I haven't forgotten it. Neither of my compatriots. And we're going back to tell them that this is a serious issue. And if you expect us to take you seriously when you talk about our brothers and sisters who are killing themselves, you need to acknowledge this. What's more, you need to take action. And so we are looking to motivate them to do the right thing. Okay,
dude, bring the fucking heat.
Great, man.
Stop talking. I'm ready to go.
Let's go. Far too long.
Okay,
we have too many of our brothers and sisters in the ground. Why? Because we're cheaper. We're cheaper dead. And we're safer. We're safer to the establishment dead. Because we know what's really been going on with the system. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen the corruption. We've seen the waste, fraud, and abuse. We've seen people who don't really have the best interests of our communities at heart winning office because they're backed by the right corporation.
Right. Yeah.
And we're tired of it.
Fact.
We're sick and tired of it.
Look what Cuomo did with the coronavirus.
All of them. There's no difference between the Bloods and the Crips at the political level, homie.
Yeah. Cuomo murdered all of those old people in those nursing homes. And then I got a buddy who is CEO of a major nursing home company, like hundreds of them, right? He's like, Cuomo saved $3.2 million a day in Medicare by killing all of those people. $3.2 million a fucking day. Who opens up a nursing home in the middle of a pandemic? Like what?
So what's funny is that we're talking about the VA. We're talking about I just started really delving into the retirement side, like trying to get all my paperwork done for retirement.
You ain't retiring, buddy.
Retired. Well, yeah.
Way to go. Way to get your surgery right now at 25 years in.
24. Anyway. But the funny thing is, I talked to a buddy of mine, kind of in the same vein as what we're talking about. We're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like I got a briefing for part of my benefits or whatever, but it's all on PowerPoint. You can't understand the briefing. I called the guy. I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to understand this? And he's like, yeah, I don't either. Anyway, I talked to another buddy of mine. He's like, yeah, the system is inefficient on purpose, because if you get aggravated and you don't, you just like fuck it, throw your hands up, and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I don't even give a shit. They save billions of dollars a year off of veterans.
It's the rainmaker mentality. Say no and go away. You just got off cheap.
Who else is saving money?
We've been pretty active duty heavy in the last several shows. And I'm so glad that you guys are on here, Ricardo, so you can show the other half what the fucking veteran side feels like. And what it looks like when a veteran takes
we're all veterans, Joe. I don't know why you're talking about it.
Yeah, why you singling us out, Joe? Because we stayed in and kept weaving that blanket of saying.
We're not quitters. That was the name of the show. I'm confused.
Ricardo,
loud noises.
Called not being a quitter.
Yeah. I gotta get out.
Fucking idiots.
You just like to point out that the stone guys.
That is the dumpster fire. Welcome, gentlemen.
Our logo is a dumpster fire. But the biggest news of the day is
Ricardo, I might tell you later over the phone. I'll get your number because these fucking morons won't shut up.
We got Robert down there. And
I was wondering about Robert.
I was wondering what he's doing too, because he looks like a cop. All right. He had the glasses on and he's real quiet. He's probably taking some notes, right? If a cop's writing something down and you're talking, you're going to go to fucking jail. All right. So don't say anything. All right. So Robert, welcome to the show, man. What do you do?
Hey, thanks guys. I kind of do a little bit of fucking everything and try and stay out of trouble.
I was in a gay porn fucking everything.
I'm currently traveling right now to a hemp farm I help work at, but yeah, just kind of hanging out and enjoying my time. Glad to be here. Kind of don't really do much other than that.
So did you guys, all three of you, serve together? All three of you were MPs together, or?
Nah, cannabis brought us together.
Okay.
Unifier.
But you guys were all Marines or Army?
No, I was in the United States Army.
You were Army. Brett, where were you?
Marine Corps.
Okay. Sorry. Robert?
Air Force.
Air Force.
Can we please talk about the irony of the fact that 3 cops were brought together by weed? Can we?
No, acknowledge it.
Cops smoke weed all the time.
Tell your friends about it. Because a lot of us do it, but we don't tell anybody.
You think when the cops take a 60-year-old kid's weed, when a cop confiscates a 60-year-old kid's weed, you think that goes into a locker?
Depends on what city you're in.
Certainly a portion of it does.
Fellas, is it not true? You turn in that much money and you're like Russell Crowe in American Gangster.
I was a private, homie. They didn't give me shit. They barely trusted me with my rifle.
I never got to do cop shit. Never once. Blue lights, no arresting people. Nothing. No, I got sent to Iraq. They were like, "Here, get in a truck and go find bombs."
There you go.
No, never once. Like I went to MP school. They're like, "Here's how you write a ticket. Like here's how you wear your badge." And then at the very last day, at the end of MP school when they're like, this is where you're all going. The fuck, like no fucking shit. The guy walks up to 3 of us in the corner. He's like, I'm sorry, guys, you're going to RCT1 and going to Iraq with like whatever. And we're like, oh, we're doing what? Like, I thought, no, never once did I get to do cop.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Ever.
So,
bro, yeah, they were like, you're gonna go babysit EOD guys for a couple months.
You guys probably return your blockbusters.
Do a little bit of gate guard. Yeah.
Hey, so you guys go one at a time, or we'll start with Robert because he obviously loves to talk so much. Well, give us your best security forces story. What happened?
Set the mood.
Air Force. This one time my keyboard broke.
No. There was a big drug read down at Eglin Air
Air
Force.
conditioning went out.
Let's see. I worked. I didn't really get to do a lot of cop shit like everybody else. I spent most of my time overseas. But I remember when the hurricanes came in the South. I was in 06 to 11, and I remember hurricanes coming in and all the planes had to be sent up to Wright Pat where I was stationed at. So seeing all sorts of shit that normally doesn't show up. Got to work a nice air show event where I met William Shatner's publicist and was given a pretty cool autograph picture of William Shatner.
Nice.
Just to walk around and have a pilot hit on me for the night.
How much are you willing to part with that autograph picture for?
I'm not really sure yet. How much you willing to offer for that?
If it's Shatner, I'm willing to go 1,000. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm totally joking.
Where were you stationed at, Robert? Just here in the U.S. Or did you ever? Because the Air Force is like all over the place. I saw some SPs. They used to get it in Germany.
Secure, they're SF, Dave. They're security forces.
Security forces, yes. And they'd be dealing with all the drunk guys and stuff. And yeah, they get into a lot of fights out there. So yeah, definitely saw some action over there. But were you ever stationed over there or no? You just did the U.S.?
I was at Wright-Patterson here in the U.S. and then I did 2 combat tours in Iraq, both attached to the Army.
What units?
Right.
What units?
I was with the 82nd MP Brigade, I believe.
There's only one division in the United States. It's the 82nd Airborne Division.
Best one.
Fact.
Yeah.
So, but airborne.
You want us to lie? We're not going to lie to you. All right, we're going to tell you how it is.
Yeah, nobody cares about the other one, so you're good, brother.
Oh, you said the right one first. We don't have to hear anything. And Ricardo, he was in the Army, so this is probably even better because I know for a fact he's got some stories. Because I'm
not going to tell you fuckers any of the good ones, though.
As a first sergeant, I've had you guys in my office plenty of times explaining what the fuck just happened in the barracks.
With your troops. With your personnel.
Exactly.
I want chalk one, stick one story, and I want it right now.
Let's go, Ricardo. What do we got? Come on.
Well, no, I mean, I did OSUT at Fort Leonard Wood, like MPs up until a certain point, and then it was at some other military installation. And then from there in Missouri, I went to Germany and was stationed with the 554 MP company in Panzer Kaserne in Stuttgart.
Ooh. And, I grew up in K-Town.
Hey, now, that's what's up. My former team leader is the chief of police in K-Town now, Joshua Manuel. Shout out, Ugly.
Yeah, I lived there for 21 years, man. Love Germany.
That's what's up. Yeah, I miss Germany, man. It was great. I didn't get to see a lot of it because we were in the field mostly, training up to go to Iraq. But I was on essentially a special forces compound. We didn't have to police them; they policed themselves.
Did you hear that, buddy?
And so it was one of those things like we got to hang out with the Pons guards at the gate when we were doing the
You're muted, buddy.
And then we worked a lot with the local Pons guards and stuff like that at their fests, which was awesome, amazing. The German people have a fest for everything, anything they can think of. Let's have a fest about it. But one of the stories I was on patrol and we did kind of a roving patrol some nights where we would bounce from base to base. I was on RB. It's around Stuttgart. You have like 5 different areas where you go and you patrol. Yep. And so I went up to RB. I'm just hanging out there. RB is more of like the housing area. And so we get a call and it's from another one of the sites and it's from some Marines. diming out their buddy who just thought it would be a good idea to get in his car and drive home to RB. And they gave us his make and model, what he looked like, et cetera, et cetera. They're his own peeps. And so sure shit, he comes rolling up and it's just like, damn, man, like you couldn't have parked down there and then walk a little bit, whatever. Nope, come up, gave us his ID. We had him go over secondary, got him out. My patrol suit was already there. So we gave him a field sobriety test and whatnot, failed it. And we gave him an option of like, look, man, like we can let you go and do what you were doing or whatever. Like we can take you to your shit. You can give us permission to take your car over there. You can sleep it off. If we see this car move in this time frame, we'll come back. Like we know who you are. We know where you live and stuff. And so we took the option of going home and sleeping it off. But yeah, sometimes y'all do it to yourselves, which is even worse than us doing it to you. You know what I mean?
Facts.
I never. We never do it to ourselves. You guys are picking on us. Stop.
Yeah,
as he's drinking the cordial.
Special forces in the Army 100% needs to be policed at all times. So
like, we had the Army, so we had the Army.
I
had the green.
I would definitely
Panzer.
have it. I would
Panzer, you have
if a MP anybody had come into the team room, that would have been a glorious thing to watch.
Well, no, you guys.
It would have been funny.
At Panzer, we had the Navy, we had the Army, and then we had the Marine Corps recon. And the Marine Corps were crazy. Every morning, combatives, like just beating the shit out of each other because, they're Marines.
Yeah, they're Marines.
I mean,
they're just,
they're there. They're
shout out to the
fucking
Marines.
there. Yeah. But the Army, Special Forces were really helpful, actually training up for our rotation to Baghdad. They were kind of jealous and stuff. They were partnering around in Iraq, weren't really heavily engaged in our Africa. They were over there, but helped us with our adrenaline shooting, getting our blood pressure up and focusing on the sights and stuff, and weapons familiarization with what we might come across in the battlefield and stuff like that, how to manipulate it if it came down to using that. But I appreciate the fuck out of those guys. Yeah, they even offered some of our airborne MPs opportunities to jump with them and whatnot. But our chain of command is like, you can't have a special platoon doing jumps and then everybody in the company is not doing it. It's mainly because the higher ups wanted their jumps. But I want to shut up now. It's some good pot.
No, good to go, Ricardo. Good
to go. I totally agree with the ODA we had attached to us in Samara was fucking awesome. And I didn't spend 1 second with any of those guys where they weren't teaching me something.
Yeah, we had one that accidentally had an accident too.
Yeah, shot his 45 off.
I mean, he was gone the day after, but
that night, they were helicopter came down and got him.
Well, what about you, Brett?
So I never got to do cop shit. I already kind of covered that.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention, Dave.
Yeah,
you got some. I was, but he's got some Army story or not Army.
No, fuck no. Yeah. I'm offended now.
Yeah. You should be. You're triggered. You're triggered.
I'm triggered.
A fancy microphone.
We have the "Don't Be a Triggered Pansy" shirt. You should go get it.
All right, I'm in.
It's a conversation.
I don't get
starter.
one for free for being a guest.
Fuck no.
What kind of racket is this?
Ricardo,
We're a for-profit company.
And lace suppressive fire with the 240 on it. So
we got all kinds of shirts for you guys. Just put them on. Anyways, those of you watching, we forgot about that. Hey, put in the code VTTGW while you're watching and get yourself a discount. All right. And again, we make about like $2 a shirt because we give most of it to stop the organization Stop Soldier Suicide. But yeah, so go buy it. You'll be supporting a cause. Through the end of September, the Triggered Pansy shirt, all proceeds are going to a flag to remember. All right, those of you guys who watched I Guy on our show, he has a phenomenal idea, and he's gotten a lot of juice with it. But yeah, they do their flags and they sign them and they dedicate them to somebody. And they travel around the country. It's phenomenal. So they just put one up at the what is it, September 11th? I can't remember. Yeah, Ground Zero. They just put a flag up there that had 2 ladders on it and stuff like that, and then a couple of cops' names.
That dude puts in for his craft is incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And then I wanted to say something real quick, guys, because Joe was when he was talking about, family and stuff like that, and where you're from. So I had somebody hit me up the other day who's not military, but he's kind of watches our show a little bit. And again, that's why we invite civilians to our page. And we want them to watch the Trash Talk Hour because veterans, as Joe was trying to get to earlier before we cut him off, all right, you're a minority, right? There's not that many of us. So, but you are in the community. So it might help if you understand a few words, a few acronyms, maybe what these guys are talking about will help you. So he actually hit me up because of this show and he goes, hey, is there anything you can do or say for this guy, William D. Johnson from his church? And I was like, well, what's about him? He's like, oh, he was a World War II airborne infantryman. And I was like, yeah, definitely. We will definitely say something for him. So I want to give a big cheers to William D. Johnson. He finally slipped away and he's at the right drop zone.
Invisible cup.
If you guys ever get a chance, I know Joe's done it, Buddy's done it. I think Dave's done it too. But if you ever get a chance, there's a very few World War II veterans left. All right. And we talked about it last week about how we've already forgotten about the Vietnam veterans and we never fucking remember the Korean War veterans ever. Right. So it's like, if you ever get a chance to go talk to those guys, right, just like we've proven on this show, once you have an outlet, people love to talk about it. All right. They love to get re-energized about the great things that they experienced in the military. Obviously, nobody wants to talk about the bad things, but once they realize that you really are interested, they'll listen to you. Right. And then they'll,
when you're done.
Yeah, for sure. But if you ever get to hang out with the World War II veteran, do it. All right. And don't be afraid to ask him, hey, what was it like? Right. Because you're probably gonna get a real smart ass answer. And it's going to be fucking hilarious. And that's why when you watch this show, that's exactly how we are. But he was in the 511th Airborne Infantry, 11th Airborne Division. And, anybody who doesn't know that lineage, they were in the Asian theater as an airborne unit and they jumped with the Rangers to free a camp of prisoners. So they did a lot of good stuff over there as well. And I'm sure he was a part of it. So cheers to you and to your family for the service that he did. And again, everybody wants to call him the greatest generation. Sure, go ahead. But they're warriors, they're heroes. And if a lot of them killed themselves too. All right. And it's not going to stop. And there's a big system problem and it's a leadership problem. Any leader who talks in a linear language is a bad leader. All right. Any leader who says, if we do this, it'll do that. Okay. It's a bad leader. They're not looking at the whole system. And we talked about that last week. I did in my book of Earl was if the message isn't getting across and your followers aren't buying in, it's not the followers' fault. All right. It's either the message's fault or it's the leader's fault. Okay. And what these guys are doing, how they are actually taking action, right? And hence the name, the Veterans Action Council, is a tremendous thing. Now, I know that you're going to have the people, the baby boomers, especially since we're from the greatest generation, who think weed is the devil. All right. It is. You're never going to get to those guys. All right. The bias is clear. All right. And you might get one or two, but like they just, once you tell a story, all right, that's what leaders do. They tell stories. Okay. When you tell a story, the audience has already made up their mind probably 20 seconds into what you're talking about. Right. And their bias takes right over. So the minute that you say cannabis or you say weed, all right, you're just going to lose some of those guys. All right. They're not even going to listen to you. But again, you can't lose focus. You can't lose focus on that. And what these guys are doing, I applaud you. But just remember that as a leader, all right, you have to tell stories. You got to know your audience's story. All right. And that's why we want civilians here. If you don't know your audience's story, then you do no good talking to them. All right. You have to know them. And your audience you might be a leader, might be soldiers. Your audience might be your employees. Your audience might be your neighborhood. Right. So it's like, if you don't know their story, then they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to get anything from it. So that's a quick book of Earl on that one. So Joe, what do you got?
Oh man, I actually switched to two different points while you were talking because you kind of went, started out with the old war vets, but Dude, the fight is real when it comes to what the bias that you're talking about. I had a doctor, a VA doctor. She's not mine anymore. Actually went without until they would change my doctor because I wouldn't see her again because she was just so short-sighted and patronizing. I couldn't stand it. She calls me and says, your analysis came back, and I was like, okay. She was like, well, I can't give you anything for pain because you are positive for THC. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't ask you for anything for pain. Second of all, the fucking mental roller coaster that your bullshit has put me on over the last 5 fucking years is over with. I got rid of all of it, a shopping bag full of that shit. When my wife saw the computer screen of what they tried to test with me in that period where we were all kind of, I was not doing my own thing. I didn't want you guys to see it because I was a fucking mess. But Ricardo, I feel that fucking fire, man, and I'm not making light of it. I literally was ready to fucking slam my fist through the desk when you were talking because it's real, bro. I've been there, and I told her, I said I dumped all that shit out, all the painkillers, anything for my mental health for a little plant, and it probably saved my life, and probably in that saved my fucking marriage. So if you're going to tell me that you're gonna cut me off, then what are we fucking talking about? Because I'm going to be hot every fucking time you test me until I die. Until this starts doing something different to me. Because right now, like the 6,000 mile focus that you have where you go put yourself in an anxiety attack, all this does is zero my focus. It brings me down a little bit. Believe it or not, I'm way more fucking agitated when I'm not. So, it's a sense of normal and a sense of peace and a sense of pain relief that I can live with, I can work with, that my wife loves, that my kids aren't afraid of. And if somebody hears all of these things and still is arguing for opiates and everything else, then get the fuck out of my face. Are you serious?
Yeah, but again, you have to, like I said, so if you're going to try to talk to those people, you got to know their story, and their story. Go ahead, Ricardo.
I don't think they have an option. They have to push that.
What I said to her, which was what got me cut off, was I said, when Big Pharma digs its hands in your pockets over marijuana, you'll be singing a different fucking tune. But don't try to debate me that I was healthier taking 8 pills a day than I am smoking a pencil eraser cap of weed in the morning and at night. I mean, give me a fucking break.
And at 10 and at 2.
So, hey, listen, that's neither here nor there.
At 4.
Right? That's a relative time.
I think certainly better than the blood test.
Right, like Nick, Ricardo, Nick off camera has been pushing me for a while to be like, dude, just come out with it and talk about it. And I've kind of, honestly, I'll be honest, I've been playing it safe and kind of stepping around it, admitted to it, kind of take the jokes, but I've never really talked about the fact that I use medical marijuana on the show. Not really.
But I have to. You pass out. We know you are.
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
So, and he likes to laugh, but a 1-month-old at home and working construction had something to do with me passing out from time to time.
So what strain were you on? This is before your baby was born. What strain were you on where what strain were you on that where you would get to this point? You remember what I'm talking about? I know Buddy does, but he would get like this. Now you gotta have glasses on. He'd get like this, and then all of a sudden you just go, huh.
Well, hey,
what is that stuff? I want to know what that stuff was.
Well, I can tell you.
When I get out, I am getting that stuff.
I can tell you what that is.
That indica, dog. You got that indica, though. You got to
partake in a little bit of 10th Mountain. That's what that is, plus weed. So that's all that is.
That is the stuff I'm going to try out with every time.
That was 10th Mountain whiskey.
But
Joe,
here's the real question, though, for you guys: is how do we not go from opioids where you can't function, you're taking 8 pills a day, and then jump completely to the other side of the pendulum with marijuana?
You have to medical detox, bro, or you'll go through fucking hell.
No.
Titration.
Everybody calm down. Let's get the question out first.
Let's just get your hand up. Get your hand up. Don't talk with your hands. Broke ass fucking slug guy.
How do we not go from non-functioning with opioids to smoking a pound of weed a day and being non-functional, like legitimately the stereotype of a pothead, right? Because because we all can agree that we want to be in the middle. We want to be functional.
We've been stereotyped for fucking
functioning.
kids. All of us. Who
No,
cares?
that's an honest
No,
question.
he's asking a question,
How do
Joe.
we not go there?
I
How do we not
No,
go
I,
from
no,
one
I,
side to the other?
I'm trying to.
Well, you're gonna have
the answer, but I'll let Ricardo because
It goes back to
You're gonna have
don't
people
smoke
that
the
abuse
shit
it.
that Joe was smoking. It makes you go, huh? You just
You're gonna have
smoke
what do you
functioning
do?
marijuana.
I want to watch you after about 3 or 4 more of those cocktails that you're drinking over there and see what kind of noises you make there, bud.
I'm actually.
Ricardo. This brown shit's coming from Party Boy over there. Who's
I
still
come to trash talk.
Party Boy's still drunk from last night. He's reading me the riot act.
You will never be able to tell when I'm drunk. All right, it's just it won't happen. Like,
So functioning. So functioning. But no, in a serious tone, like smoking a pound of weed, that's a lot. And you're gonna have people that abuse this. But
got some bad weed.
I went through intense therapy when I first made a decision to get right and to stop fucking around with my health, with my life, with the life of my family, and with the lives of my friends. I fucking did it. And I went to all of my therapy sessions. I communicated with my doctors. I communicated with my loved ones, what I was feeling, when I was feeling it. I developed a tool bag with many other things outside of cannabis. And when I made the decision after 3 years of that, I didn't have the opportunity to use cannabis like I'm using cannabis now. It was an experiment here or there, and it did not go down well with my ex-wife or her family. I got to tell you that, right? But after 3 years, seeing and being able to weigh what it is that I was feeling with these pills, I weaned myself off. I didn't just stop. I weaned myself off, and then I started using cannabis. Now, I didn't know if it was an indica, if it was a sativa or whatever. I trusted the person that I got it from, that they weren't going to screw me. And then I started to use it, be mindful of how it made me feel, be mindful of what it is that I was able to accomplish, how productive I was being, how I was able to communicate with my loved ones and those around me. I was at the University of Arizona doing very well. You can look at my record over the last decade. I've done a lot of shit under the influence of cannabis, a lot. And up until people found out that I was using cannabis, I was on a launch, a rocket ship, going to administration, going to postgraduate work, going to this, going to that. People fucking loved me, right? But it turned out they loved what I was able to do for them. And as soon as I became a liability for coming out about what worked best for me, they cut sling load, and then they just ran over me. Didn't give a fuck about me. And me and other individuals like me became the other veteran that you don't fuck with, that you don't help, right? And a lot of these organizations, as soon as they find out that you use cannabis, like, but you're going to have to refrain from that. Meanwhile, you can show up and watch them drink their face off. I challenge the drinking bros. I love them, their show, their great content. I challenge them to a marathon. You drink as much booze as you want. We'll record it. I'll sit there and I'll smoke as much weed. I'll line up with a pound of weed right there, and I'll do my best to smoke it all. And you could drink your fifth of fucking whiskey. You could drink your 30 rack. You can drink whatever. And at the end of the fucking day, I guarantee you, I promise you, I'll be looking at you. I'll be looking at you, drunk, passed out, fucked up, while I'm getting ready to have a fucking great night's sleep. I'll wake up first thing in the morning, have my breakfast, have my coffee, go for a nice hike, come back, you'll still be sleeping. As soon as you wake up, you'll be looking for some kind of fucking thing to get that monkey off your back. All right? And that's the truth.
Is there PBR involved?
Well, first, I feel like
There's mixed in if there's PBR.
We need to just clarify that you're in the nest. Like I don't at all give a shit if people smoke weed, right? I feel like in the last probably 5 years we've gone leaps and bounds. It's kind of like the war went leaps and bounds
these guys.
in prosthetics, right? Like at the beginning of 2001, you got your leg blown off. You basically weren't very far from getting the old pirate's nub and fucking walking around, right? Now we've got like shit that like you think it and your leg starts fucking moving, right? I think at the same time, we've gotten leaps and bounds into marijuana, and not just like, man, I'll tell you, I've been into dispensary, the last 2 or 3 years, I've gone into dispensaries and just looked, right? Because I'm not allowed to partake, because if I get tested, I'm screwed, right? That being said, I've gone in and And when I was 18, there were two types of weed.
This isn't the 90s compared to now.
There's two types of weed. There was weed, and then there was good weed. The difference in weed and good weed was whether there were stems and seeds and shit in the back. That's it. Now you go to your dispensary and there's popcorn, there's freaking cookies, there's brownies, there's weed jerky, there's flour, there's gummy bears, there's all this stuff. And my question is not to point out that or to say that weed is bad. I feel like weed is, and everything that you just so passionately discussed about how especially the next morning, right? You feel better. You don't have a hangover. You're not cloudy. You're not all that stuff. That you're 100% right. But what I'm saying is, right, there are stereotypes for a reason, right? There are pothead stereotypes for a reason. Just like there are alcoholic stereotypes, just like there are fucking junkie stereotypes, all that stuff. There are those things for a reason, right? My question is not, we shouldn't do weed because everybody's going to smoke a pound of weed and become a pothead, right? My question is, like, we went into opioids, right? In the early 2000s, the Army went into opioids and didn't ask any questions. They didn't ask, how is this going to affect us later? We're supposed to learn from the past, right? So how do we keep from recreating that with opioids? And I think the way, personally, from standing outside looking in, I think the way that we keep from doing that is what you guys are doing, but in educating. Like you just said, when you first got out, you were just listening. Like, you didn't know if it was indica or sativa. You didn't know if you were going to be in the couch or if you were going to be just have a good buzz, right? So I think that what you guys are doing is awesome, but I think that there is something to be said for, coming out with like a list of like, hey, my shoulder's fucked up. What should I do? Right? I've got anxiety. What should I do? You know what I mean? Because there are going to be plenty of people that go out and try to do one thing, but what they're doing is counteracting what they're trying to accomplish using whatever, whether it's opioids, whether it's weed, whether it's liquor. Like everything's got its purpose, right? If you overuse it, you're not using it for its purpose. You're using it for some other reason. And when you start, you're abusing it, and you're using it because you want to at some point escape. And that's not what we're trying to do, right?
Just real quick before I pass it over to Brett so he can get down on this, and then Robert will really be able to drill down on the medical portion because he spent a while trying to get Ohio squared away. But I spent 2.5 years on probation as an adolescent because I got pinched with cannabis. And my THC levels rose while I was on probation. I never stopped using cannabis. It's part of the reason why I spent 2.5 years on probation, right? And so I was accustomed to the way it made me feel. I knew where to get it. I knew who had the best stuff or whatever that I can get. And I was comfortable with the budget, and I was comfortable with how it was going to make me feel. And so me having already had that experience helped me out a lot. But for other individuals, you're going to have people that abuse it, just like you do with liquor, just like you would do with pills and stuff like that. And that I would put forward for discussion is a manifestation of hurt, pain, and depression, right? You're trying to block something out, keeping you from feeling something that you're running away from that you don't want to feel. And it's totally, totally normal. But you got to get into somebody and break that shit. And it's not going to help self-medicating at that point. You have to do the work first. You cannot skimp or cheat or go around this shit. You have to address it. And the sooner you do, the more honest you are about what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, right? And what you want to do with your life, with the rest of your life, the better off you'll be, the sooner you'll get there. I want to pass it off to Brett and Robert so that they could address this too, because
I think I think Ricardo is great proof that not all stoners are just calm and chill all the time. Like we do get fired up still. We're normal fucking people, particularly.
Scarface was a pothead, remember?
So to answer the question directly, I think it boils down to a couple of things. I think it boils down to intent, and then I think it boils down to having oversight, right? So like cannabis, in my view, is an enhancer. It's going to enhance what's already there. If you're a lazy fucking shitbag, it's going to enhance your lazy fucking shitbag stuff. If you're a very productive, functional human being, it's going to allow you to, like Joe said, hone in on that attention, hone in on your ability to do these things. So it kind of comes down to that. Now, part of cannabis, even now in the modern world with everything that's fucking out there, part of cannabis now is that level of self-medication. Probably not that different than veterans who drink heavily or veterans who are, out on the street sourcing pills because the VA is not getting them enough, or whatever fucking problems we have. Part of it is that self-medication. So it does boil down to your intent of use. It boils down to your own self-control and self-will. And let's call it like it is, kind of plain and simple. Even if you do overdo fucking cannabis, you're not going to die. You can't overdose from it, and you're not going to feel it the next day. The worst thing you're going to lose is a couple of fucking hours of your life watching Rick and Morty and eating some fucking Cheetos. That's a lot better than, a ditch somewhere. Or that's
having
a lot
said
better
that, you might want to wait half an hour before you take that second bite on your first edible. Just saying, yes, it can happen. That shit. Yeah. Let that shit work for a minute before you go for the second.
It boils down to intent, right? Like it boils down to intent, and there is enough education out there, and there is enough structure to it. If you have a doctor's recommendation and you are a medical patient, like a real medical patient, which technically we don't have medical, we have medicinal, and medical's a misnomer. Medical would imply the standardization that you see in pills. So kind of this advanced pharmaceutical ingredient bullshit world that they want to put you in. And part of cannabis use is a rejection of that style of Western medicine, right? Like I don't want to be part of just another weed pill factory on top of my regular pill factory on top of my other thing. So part of it is that too. But again, it all kind of boils back down to what's your goal and what are the risks compared to the alternatives that you have in a given situation, whether it's pain or whether it's PTSD shit or whether it's just fucking life sucking. Like it all kind of comes back to it is a better alternative than the alternatives. And it's all going to come down to you being a fucking man and figuring your shit out, whether it's on pills or weed. Like,
so let's say somebody's watching right now, massive PTSD. They're obviously out of the military. They're loaded up on pills. They want to make that transition. I mean, you explained they need to know what they're doing and all that stuff, but what would you recommend?
Go to your doctor, man, not your VA doctor. Look it up. I mean, it's real simple. Google medical marijuana doctor near me. And if that doesn't work and you live in a recreational state or you don't want to go through the rigmarole, and this is an important thing, a lot of veterans have this preconceived notion that they lose their Second Amendment rights when becoming medical cannabis patients. And that's not the case depending on state. So that's its own kind of conversation of like, I got a concealed carry permit and I got a weed card. It's okay depending on your location. But a lot of people, if you're in a recreational state, you might not have access to the ready-made doctor setup. So go into your fucking dispensary and ask them if they have a veteran working. I guarantee motherfucking to you, there are a whole bunch of people like Ricardo and myself and Robert working in the industry. It's something I'm really passionate about of that mission. Like, because a lot of us struggle with the mission when we get out of the military. We're like, what the fuck do I do with my life now? This is our mission now, right? Like we have found our tribe, our calling, our life's work in trying to help with this, right? To normalize and legalize and get cannabis in veterans' hands. There's a whole motherfucking fuck ton of us. There are dozens of veterans cannabis groups. There are thousands of veterans involved. And I guarantee you a couple of Google searches and calls to your local dispensary, you're going to find one of them that's got one of us, not necessarily a Veterans Action Council person, but a veteran who's in the industry there. Have a conversation.
I found one at the first
Most of-
first dispensary I went to in Ann Arbor. There was a veteran there, and
We're-
the dude was absolutely brilliant in the area where I needed him to be brilliant. Like
Bingo.
he
We're
fought the
basically
fight
like
with the VA
CrossFitters
thing
and
came over
vegans.
and opened a dispensary. So
We're at CrossFitter vegan level. You want to ask a veteran who's into weed to talk about weed? Sit the fuck down. You got an afternoon? Like, we got time, motherfucker. Like, that's how it works. Like, that's how we are.
nice.
Robert, what's your take on all this?
Before Robert goes, I take exception to the CrossFit reference and so forth.
So I think Brett kind of hit it dead on the head with the intention portion of it. With everything, any type of medication, any type of substance we use, we go into it under an intention component, whether it's going to take away our pain, take away our anxiety, maybe just de-stress us for a minute, or some of us go into it and we're like, I'm going to get fucked up today, and that's my intention, just to get fucked up. And I'm not saying that's bad or good, but the intention is still there. And so, like, for me, well, one thing that's really not talked about a lot is when I was on all the prescription medication of the 22 pills a day that I was taking at the time, I was also going into the doctor having my blood work drawn every other week to make sure my liver and kidneys weren't shutting down from the medication. And so looking at it that way, and also understanding that the way cannabis interacts with substances actually requires less of a substance. So we're not necessarily saying that you're not going to need a pharmaceutical medication, because sometimes pharmaceutical medications work better for people. But what we're saying is that this is a healthier alternative that, if utilized correctly and utilized under the intent, then it will become a safer, more harm reduction model to healthcare. And, for me, here's a good story, since I don't talk a lot and whatnot. I got a story. So I was put on my medication while active duty. I was diagnosed with PTSD, chronic pain, was given all this medication, and my first sergeant walked into the office I was working in one day, and he goes, "Kowalski, what are you doing awake?" And I was like, "Well, first sergeant, I'm at work. I'm supposed to be awake doing my job." And he goes, "Well, I know what medications you're on, and I'm just shocked that you're still able to function on that." I was like, "Oh, well, that's kind of weird." So about a week and a half go by, and I get a urinalysis thrown down my way, and I pop for cannabis. Because unbeknownst to my leadership, I found that cannabis was working better to help with my sleep and my anxiety and my pain than the pills they were pushing me through the military. And then it became an issue of a pre-existing diagnosis. It became an issue of now I'm using an illegal substance. And 3, I'm functioning as well as I should be as an airman in your squadron. So ultimately, it led to my discharge after about 7 months of fuckery. And I was discharged with a general under honorable conditions. All because of this decision, I was forced to go back. I became homeless, and then was forced to go back to the VA, or to get involved with the VA, and then was put on this prefla of medication that was just terrible for me. So when I moved out to Arizona and I started cultivating cannabis legally, I got my medical card. I started out utilizing 5 ounces a month. But with that 5 ounces a month, I quit my medication cold turkey. And like it's been said here, that's not smart to do. I don't recommend doing it. But the reason I tell people this is because about 5 months later, I noticed that I wasn't using all 5 ounces no more, that I only needed to use 3.5 ounces that month. And then now I'm down, and have been probably for the last 5 years now, down to 2 ounces to 2.5 ounces a month consistently. So focusing on that intention component and understanding the abuse component, there's really major benefit in this plant if utilized correctly.
Yeah, phenomenal breakdown. I mean, I guess, education is key, right? With everything that we do. So in this matter, you know, if for anybody that's watching and anybody that's watching later, listening later, definitely, you know, get that education first, you know, but, I love what you guys are doing. I mean,
man,
you guys
brought that
actively in the fight.
fire,
Yeah.
man. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
So we didn't ruin your streak, Nick. Yay. Where you at, Nick?
Oh no, hey,
He was
worried.
more than
I
that.
tell you what, brother, you surprised Ricardo, you surprised me because you came out of the gate in first gear. Before I knew it, we were fucking ripping.
I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I haven't.
No, dude, it was great.
I got
He's like that
all the time. Blackball professionally.
Don't lose that
blackballed
shit,
from
man.
campus. I got
people will fucking do something for you if they're afraid of you. They'll stab you in the back if they respect you, but they won't fuck with you if they're afraid of you. If they
It's
know
all
you're
right.
educated and you're not going anywhere, they're gonna have to deal with you.
Yeah.
First they laugh. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Fuck them.
Yep.
We're gonna win. This isn't something we're going away. There's more of us. That wasn't anything that was coordinated or scripted. We have our own experience with this herb. It sounds remarkably similar. You go from coast to coast, and then you start hopping continents. And it's like, well, why would this individual over here be saying the exact same thing that we're saying over here, right? It's money. Follow the money. Follow it right back to the crooked bastards that raid the red and the blue team on the Capitol Hill. And look who funds them. Look who pays them to pass these laws. We're being abused. We're being abused. We're being murdered with these pills. After a certain time, when you have knowledge that something is hurting somebody, not just hurting them, killing them, devastating families, having a massive incarceration boom, right? I don't know what you call that as a lawyer. Somebody look that shit up who's a lawyer. I'm just a dumb mud puppy. But I do feel like that's complicit in nature, especially when you start looking at the Sacklers, those goons, and what they got off with, immunity from spreading that poison. Meanwhile, people who are using an herb to try to heal themselves are being abused and victimized by a cold, uncaring system, locked up in a box. And what's more, the people that are incarcerated right now for cannabis are looking at people who are profiting, who are benefiting from the very same thing that got them incarcerated and disenfranchised from the community. When you get out and you have a felony, what is it? That's a scarlet letter, homie.
Life sentence.
What does it do? You can't vote. You can't own a firearm. You can't have certain grants. You can't have access to certain housing. Fuck you and your service. Especially if you don't have the proper citizenship, fuck your service, get out of the country.
Yeah, no.
Ricardo fired up again, man, Joe. You got him
He's
going.
right on every point because everything he's describing. I mean, what about Goody? Remember him?
Yeah.
He wasn't. They wouldn't naturalize him. That motherfucker was in everything.
Yeah, you're right.
But until he switched over to us, he was in the shit. When he got with us,
Right.
he was in everything.
You're
He
right.
fought right alongside us, wearing one of those, and he had to fight for his citizenship when he got home.
100%. Hey, boys.
That should be automatic.
Yeah.
We gotta roll, brother.
We're gonna close this one out here, but I am gonna
about
give
to
you guys.
fire.
I am gonna give you guys the final word. Let us know again for the audience, anybody that's gonna be watching or listening later, where they can find you guys, how they can support you guys, and then we'll get out of here. So whoever wants the last word,
I'll
have at it.
start since I'm talking to fucking Rico right now.
No, you're just
Caffeine and
old,
cannabis,
homie.
boys.
Yell some more.
10 minutes
Caffeine
later.
and cannabis.
Yeah,
You got
just
another
yell
hour?
again.
I want to fucking Fidel Castro on this shit and fucking grandstand for 8 hours. I'm just playing. But what we have isn't a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit entity. We're a group of passionate veterans, citizens, right, who've come together to try to address this issue and not just talk about it. I'm not hitting you up to try to raise money. I don't want your fucking money. Keep it. It hasn't done shit for us in the last 2 decades. I want your time. I want your attention. And then I want you to fucking do something, because your thank you for your service doesn't mean shit to me. Now I'll leave it on that.
Brett,
I'm not following that shit up, man.
dude, shoot some links, websites, whatever.
Veterans
Action Counsel.com.
No judgment.
Veterans Action Counsel.com. Veterans
Yeah,
Action
got it.
Counsel.com. You can find us all over social media too on Veterans Action Counsel.com. Cheers.
Hey, once somebody drops the mic, you can't just expect somebody else to pick it up, guys.
I know that's exactly what I would have said. Like, no, Ricardo got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Covered it.
Hey, It was a pleasure, guys. Again, for anybody that's watching and tuned in right now, it will be uploaded on YouTube later and on Spotify and all the other apps that we're on. Make sure you go check out veterantrashtalk.com. That is the website to all the stuff that we do. Okay. Make sure you go check out shop.veterantrashtalk.com. That's where we have our merch. We got all kinds of tees. We got my favorite project here, the Veteran Trash Talk button.
This right here is a fucking soup sandwich. Fix it.
Comes with 12 different military sayings. Okay. Anything that you purchase on our shop, part of the proceeds go to Stop Soldier Suicide, who we're partnered with. Okay. So everybody have a great Saturday. Gents, phenomenal stuff again. I love your mission. I love the motivation. Stay dedicated, and we'll be pushing your stuff out left and right. Love y'all. Happy Saturday.
Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. That's what we do in Veteran Trash Talk. That's what we do in Veteran Trash Talk. That's what we do in Veteran Trash Talk. Bravely every morning.